findings, drafting the brief, putting it out and filing the record, making oral arguments.
Okay. Alrighty. You want us to do that motion now, Kel?
If the board's ready to act, I'd appreciate that.
Anybody got any? Well, I guess I'm going to ask for a motion first. Is there a motion to approve that?
Remind me or restate the motion that we are voting on.
The motion is to retain Rinke-Noonan law firm to represent the Water Resource Board in defense of Fairville Township's appeal of the October 8th findings and order assessing cost, contingent on denial of insurance coverage, defense coverage.
Okay. Does somebody want to make that motion?
Yeah, I didn't know there was that option, I guess, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll second his motion.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Okay, so what I'd like to do now is go through the draft findings of fact, conclusions of law and order that are before you.
Okay.
I'll just give a little primer and then review them, and then I'll turn the recorder on and ask the board if it wants to go into executive session. But just as a primer, we adopted an order October 8th assessing costs of $57,658.11 to Fairville Township. In that order, we noted that the Water Resource District may incur additional costs, not yet incurred at that time, which will be assessed to the township. And so the purpose of this findings of fact and order that's before you is to do exactly that, to assess some of those final costs that have now come in and been incurred through October 8th, which is the date of the board's assessment order. So you all have a copy in front of you. The findings of fact just simply note that the Water Resource District is a political subdivision of the state responsible for management of surface water. On October 8th, the Water Resource District adopted findings of fact, conclusions of law and order, which is the cost order, which we will attach to these findings of fact and order as Exhibit A. That's the order assessing costs to Fairville Township. In the October 8th findings of fact, the Water Resource District found that as of September 30th, the district had incurred costs totaling $57,658.11, including all engineering and legal costs and the cost of procuring a contractor to remove the obstruction referenced therein. In calculating those costs, the Water Resource District did not include the cost to replace the waterman gates that were present and functioning on the culverts removed by Fairville Township. Since the October 8th cost order was adopted, the Water Resource District received a corrected invoice from Padville Trucking. Since the October 8th cost order was adopted, the Water Resource District has incurred additional legal costs. In its October 8th cost order, we directed Wells County to assess the Water Resource District's costs in the amount of $57,658.11 against Fairville Township. In the October 8th, 2024 cost order, we noted that the Water Resource District may direct additional assessments if additional costs are incurred regarding this matter. As of October 12th, 2024, the Water Resource District has incurred additional costs in a total amount of $19,825, including legal costs and the cost of procuring a contractor to remove the obstruction and replace the waterman gates removed by Fairville Township. So that's the dollar figure on top of the $57,000 that would be going out if this is approved today. The conclusions of law is the same as stated in the October 8th order. It's that the Water Resource District has jurisdiction and authority to investigate and order the removal of obstructions to drains. That our notice of decision on August 30th, 2024 was properly notified to the Township Board, its clerk, and its attorneys. And we also notified them of the resulting hearing and appeal rights. The district properly provided and served the notice of decision via certified mail. The township did not submit a hearing request or appeal the matter to district court, and therefore does not have any appeal or hearing rights. Due to Fairville Township's failure to remove the obstruction, the deadline identified in the notice of decision, the Water Resource District had a legal right and obligation to procure a contractor to remove the obstruction. The Water Resource District has incurred substantial costs in investigating and removing the obstruction. Under North Dakota Century Code 61-16.1-51, following removal of an obstruction to a drain either by a water resource board or a party complying with an order of a water resource board, the board may assess its costs against the property of the responsible landowner. The Water Resource District is entitled to recover its costs incurred regarding the obstruction. As of September 30th, that was $57,658.11. As of October 12th, the district incurred additional costs in the amount of $19,825. The Wells County Water Resource District is entitled to assess these costs against Fairville Township as a responsible party and may incur additional costs regarding the obstruction, in which case the district will similarly be entitled to recover those additional costs incurred by assessing Fairville Township. So then we get down to the order, which is again similar to the order that was adopted previously, but uses the additional costs. Based on the foregoing, the Water Resource District has determined that an obstruction to Oak Creek Drain has been caused by the negligent act or omission of Fairville Township. The Water Resource District properly notified the Township Board, its clerk, and its attorneys of their decision. Fairville Township did not submit a hearing request on the matter, and did not remove the obstruction by the deadline. The Water Resource District procured a contractor to remove the obstruction. The district incurred costs investigating and removing the obstruction of $57,658.11 as of September 30th. The Water Resource District has incurred additional costs in the matter and removing the obstruction in the amount of $19,825 as of October 8th, 2024. The order directs Wells County to assess the Water Resource District's costs in the additional amount of $19,825 against Fairville Township. The Water Resource District will pursue any additional legal avenues necessary and available to it to recover these costs against Fairville Township and may direct additional assessments if additional costs are incurred regarding this matter. So that is the draft findings in order. I'm going to return the reporter on and then discuss the authority to go into the executive session. And if the board moves into executive session, we'll ask our guests to leave at that time. Just give me 1 second. So the board has heard my review of the proposed draft findings of fact, conclusions of law and order regarding the additional assessments to Fairville Township for the costs incurred by the Water Resource District on removing the obstruction to the Oak Creek Drain. This item, these draft findings and order and conclusions of law, may be discussed in executive session. The legal authority for that is Century Code 44-04-19.1, subparagraphs 2 and 5. The purpose of going to executive session would be for the board to receive legal advice on the draft findings and order, and then also for the board to receive legal advice on the notice of appeal filed by Fairville Township on the first cost assessment order. So at this time, a motion would be in order to discuss these topics in executive session rather than in open meeting. If that's approved by a roll call vote, then we will continue to record the executive session. I'll just remind the board that if we go into executive session, limit your discussions to those announced topics, and that before we make any collective decision or take any action, we will come back into open session. Is there a member of the board that would like to make a motion to go into executive session and to authorize Secretary Rorick and Engineer Demke to attend as necessary parties?
Is there a motion for that? Okay, is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay, roll call vote, Tammy.
Larry,
Yes.
Tom.
Yep.
Brian,
Yes.
Devin,
Yes.
Chad.
We are in executive session. So we will ask Lee Barbie and Gary, we're going to say goodbye to you as well.
Gary, if you want to, when we come back out of executive session,